My name is Kelly Harrington. This is my second video that we're doing. We're out here trying to raise awareness for our friends. I call them my friends at the park. And so we're going to do an interview of a couple of my friends, kind of get to know them and the reason why they're out here, and also letting people know kind of what we're doing. We provide a meal to our friends in the park every other Monday. We'd love to do it every Monday, but with feeding over 100 people, and I've only got a handful of volunteers, it's getting harder and harder for us to provide a meal. So by watching these videos and liking and sharing, getting the word out there, people know who we are, what we're doing, maybe we can gain some support for our cause. We're Magic. We are the Lift You Up Ministries. And so these are my friends. You want to introduce yourself?
My name's Timothy. Thank you.
My name's Christopher.
So these are a couple of my friends. I don't like to call them homeless people. I don't like to give them a name like that. I call them my friends because actually they are my friends. I would rather hang out with these guys and break bread with them than I would hang out with somebody in a fancy restaurant and have a steak dinner and talk about things that I know nothing about. So, guys, I want to ask you some questions. My first question is, what led you to coming out on the streets? What led you? If you can go first,
sure.
and kind of give us an idea.
I'm a traveling veteran. I've been traveling the world. I'm retired. I came back in the country and my father died August 3rd of last year. And when he passed away, all of his things were seized by probate, the state. And you know, it was okay. He didn't write a will or anything. But I got the mobile home, and I pretty much packed all of my retirement, all the things that I've had, including the cash that I had assumed in my retirement. And I carried cash simply because I have my own belief about the monetary system and the way things are going to go with that. And so I wanted cash. And I decided to go to California. Oxnard, California is where my mother was born, and that's where she had passed. And I had no family or anything, so I wanted to go visit my mother's grave as a retirement thing. And I parked my mobile home in an incorrect spot that was told to me by one of the attendants that were there, as I assumed that he was speaking to me correctly, informed me that I could park it there till 10 o'clock, and I went for a walk with my dog and came back at 9 o'clock and found that my mobile home had been towed. Now, the unfortunate reality of all that is that this is my home. This is everything I have. It's everything I worked 11 years in the military. I did 10 years in college. I have a master's degree in science and technology. But my entire home was basically stolen from me. And the reason being for that was because I was not fortunate enough to prepare for coming to California and having my vehicle towed, and I didn't change the registration, and my father never wrote me a bill of sale. And in California, you must have a bill of sale in order to acquire the vehicle. So even though I had a signed title from my father, I was not allowed to get any of my things, and all of my money that I would be able to pay for it to get it out, which I couldn't get even out anyway because I don't have the papership of ownership, which are inside the vehicle. So I became a homeless man. And that was very, very frustrating moment for me in my life after working for so many years to have a career and to retire. And I became homeless. And the next thing I knew as I started to realize as I fell asleep in a park one day watching a softball game, woke up about 6 o'clock in the morning to be put in jail because I did not know that apparently it is illegal to be homeless in the state of California. So I became a homeless criminal on top of that. And then got out of jail. Had to go get him out of jail, my dog, and that was interesting. And then later got caught into a situation where other homeless people that were around me were going to jail, and I was searched. And I did not even know that I have had this drug with me, but I don't do the drugs, and apparently it does not matter. Possession of that drug is illegal. And I get it. I fought drug guys in the military. All through Central America. So yeah, they're the drugs. They're not mine. Take me a piss test, please. Or really something to prove that I'm not doing these drugs. Didn't matter. I went to jail. I'm a homeless guy with a criminal record now, and I've been arrested twice. So then I released myself. I got released, and I had a court date. And of course, course, I was going down to the ocean because I was just trying to find a sailboat. Now, this is in Ventura. I went to L.A., found that I had a court date that I was supposed to be going to that I was not even aware of, because when I got out, I had assumed that they had just dropped the charges, and that's why they never gave me a court date. But I was arrested anyway, spent time in Orange County Jail, then had to go to L.A. County Jail, then I had to go to Ventura County Jail. Then when I got out of that county jail, I had to walk all the way back down to Costa Mesa in Orange County Jail to get $65. I had to beg on the corner to get my dog out of jail. They wouldn't let me have him because I'm a criminal now, and I have a record, and I have drug charges on there. And even though, as a military man, I never took a charge, I never was ever in trouble, I am now a 60-year-old veteran that has become a criminal in his own home. And that's how I am.
Let me just say, this is one of our friends. We also we don't just feed the people here. We feed the animals. The last count we had, we have 12 dogs and 4 cats. So that's something else people need to keep in mind, is that we don't just provide the to-go containers, the forks, knives, and spoons, the hygiene kits. We do provide resources, and we provide a meal for over 100 people. These kind of stories are what we're talking about. In this park, we met a lady. She was 80 years old, and her husband left her. He died, and he left her in debt. He opened up a bunch of credit cards in her name he didn't tell her about, and she ended up out here. And so when people say they're all alcoholics and drug addicts, it's really hurtful, because are there drug addicts and alcoholics? Let's be honest. They're here. Let's be real. Is every single one of them an alcoholic and a drug addict? No. This man served our country. He served our country, and now here he is out in a park. And this is my other friend, and Chris. What led you out here, Chris?
Well, the state seems to like to wrongfully incarcerate people, and I'm one of those ilk that was wrongfully incarcerated. I called the cops when I was out in Pahrump with my wife. I started a lawsuit against DCFS for wrongfully absconding my daughter, and then they wrongfully absconded after saying that everything was fine. My son, my junior, on my birthday was when he was born, so my son's our birthday twin. My wife actually scheduled a cesarean behind my back as a birthday gift. We got in a house out there. I was doing maintenance and everything like that, helping this guy build his place up, and he got really weird. And we started making police reports. And then on the day, he said he was going to wrongfully or rightfully, lawfully get us out of the house. My wife, her father showed up out of nowhere, and ended up trying to abscond my wife, threatening that he'd make sure we never saw our kids again, and that he was going to kill me. And so I walked with her to the vehicle, tried to talk him down and everything like that, and he drove off with her. I called the cops, and then they arrested me, even though there's mounds of proof stating that I was in the right, and here and I were perfectly fine. I spent 6 months in jail over in Pahrump in Nye County, and then finally got released by taking a plea bargain after the 6 months, after waiting and waiting upon waiting for a speedy trial and proper representation, which I had to go through attorney after attorney. Then I walked down here to get a fresh start, and since it's been 6 months, I lost everything. Everybody pretty much stole everything I had, and what little I did have just dissipated in the ethos. I used to run a business with my business partner, Mr. Edwards, who was murdered in the Philippines. He was a veteran himself, as well as Pentagon for 34 years. I was part of Adria down here doing the Adrian Empire Renaissance Festival. I would do HEMA training. I do archery training and bows and stuff like that. And we actually supported them with their equipment. And once he passed away, everything got absconded, including my Hummers and everything else in between. But back to this. When I came back down here, trying to get a fresh start and stuff, and it's been kind of difficult with the assets, and everybody keep telling us to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. I've been to several resources, several shelters and stuff like that. People keep getting beat up, things stolen, and everything like that. It's just a disheveled mess. There's not enough people to actually help the homeless community out here, and there's just so many people at these places. It's just perplexing how many people are at these places trying to get help that they need, and a lot of them just turn to drugs and everything like that when they come to a point of just no return, and it's unfortunate. They just gave up because they're trying to get the help, and they just keep telling them wait.
There's a reason to that.
Yeah.
One reason simply, is even if you look at alcohol for a moment. Okay, I don't even drink, but occasionally I will have a drink because one thing is we're bored. Okay, and I say boredom. It's boredom. It's an imprisoning sense of being, because what we're doing is every day. All we do is we wake up and we must move. We're not allowed to sleep somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, if we're caught sleeping somewhere wrong, we're going to jail.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're criminals without even trying to be a criminal.
And they're trying to make it illegal to be homeless.
And it is in California. Any city now.
But what about the mentally ill? So is it illegal to be mentally ill?
They don't care
That's the
about
thing,
that.
they don't care
What
if
they'll
you're
do is they
mentally ill or
call
not.
in California they call it 5150. But
Legal to
you might be
1,000 here.
mentally ill, and then they put them in a little prison. And the entire system, by the way, folks, the entire homeless system has been created into a halfway house system of criminals.
Yep.
Because we are being made criminals simply for
And then we can't
sleeping
get you a
somewhere.
job.
Yeah.
And you cannot get a job because you are a criminal.
And you're being
Okay?
trespassed from every place you go to.
And you go into the system that you all claim that really is there for helpful, including me with the VA. You are still going into a corrupt system
Yeah.
because it is not doing anything but making the homeless population
Yeah.
grow. It's an industry.
Yes.
Industry must grow. Adam Smith will tell you.
And the way Las Vegas handles it, is we come and with a bulldozer, we bulldoze the areas out, we push them down the road,
Right.
which is just a Band-Aid. And what's going on is, we had a family one time, we helped them with a job interview. We had a job interview, I helped them, I got them their clothes, I got them all set up. And then the next time I saw them, they said they never made it to the job interview because they came back to their tent and it was all
everything was
bulldozed,
gone. Everything was
And
gone.
I mean, it might be a tent and it might be filled with stuff that,
But it's their
but
home.
it's their home. And, how would you like to come home to a house that's empty because it got gutted?
And not because somebody stole it, but because the government came and whipped
Yeah.
you off the planet.
Right, but we're just moving them down the road, which is not helping the main issue. We like to be a little different with our group, and I think you can admit that. You've been with me for a while. We try to show you guys compassion and love and be different than other groups. And just, I've worked with and volunteered with organizations before where they're like, scoop of rice. My son here, he's been with me. And that's great. We're giving you food. That's great.
Right.
But there's
what
no
animal-
compassion.
What animal are you feeding?
Right. And even one
not
group,
feeding
there was a
anything.
guy in the line, moving the line, because we fed over 300 people down on G Street, and he was like, I used to call him the cattle prodder, and he would go, come on, folks, move that line, let's go. And I told him one time, I said, I should just get you a cattle prod, and you could poke them. And I said, these are human beings, and so this is
we're
the
treated
reason
like
that I
cattle.
started doing this, because I wanted to be different. I don't want to treat you guys like you're a bunch of cattle, and I think we can agree. I don't do that. I try to hug every single one of you because I'm not afraid to catch homelessness. So a lot of times, even when I hug people, they'll look at me like, "Oh my gosh!" Like you actually. And you know what I tell you guys every time I hug you? I love you because you want to know something. I do, and I've raised my kids. I'm a foster mom. I've adopted 6 kiddos, but I've raised my kids to love you guys. If we see you, we just bought a guy a carne asada burrito the other day. I've taught my kids. We don't give money. No offense, we just don't. But we're going to get you a meal. You know what I mean? We're going to give you a
I
meal.
can make my money.
And we're going to help you out. So, one question I have for you before we wrap up is,
You didn't get me on the video.
oh, are you okay with us videotaping
Yeah, this
you?
is Zane. He's new. He
Zane?
just
Okay,
got-
so let me ask you guys one question. What do you want the world to know about the stigma of homelessness?
Oh, wait. I got the answer to that.
I got one.
Okay. I'll tell you about this. Let me tell you the whole system. All right? The system is built into an industry. Industry must grow. That's why the homeless are growing. That's why there's more homeless than there were years ago. it will continue to do that for one simple reason. Look at the answer. Homeless. Homeless. Okay? You spend billions and millions of dollars trying to feed the homeless. The wolf you feed will grow. You are feeding them. All you're doing is making the homeless addicted to being fed for free. You are not doing anything to creation of life or form of freedom of home to them. You are performing the act of feeding a meal, a family at home, but it is nothing like a family. There is no family available. As a homeless man, you have no love, no family, no one you can trust, not anybody you can call for help at all. And why? Because you have no home. You have no friends to commingle with within that home area. You cannot go to your neighbor. You don't have a front person to call and ask for a cup of sugar. You have no home base. Why? Because you are forcibly told to move every minute of your day. You cannot sit in a certain space for too long. You will be told to move. We can do nothing but move. We find food. And the problem is, the biggest one of all, look at the $200 million that's being spent on this new shelter that they're going to put in the middle of the neighborhood that's very ticked off about it. Why? $200 million. Wow, we're going to spend all this money because we're going to help the homeless. No, you're going to create an industry for them to walk in and out of so you can make money off of them and pay for jobs. What's going to happen is you're going to spend that $200 million. You're going to find that you're going to have to spend another $200 million. And as a matter of fact, it's going to grow to be even worse than that because you create an industry for them to feed off of. You become addicted to the feeding of the homeless yourself. The real problem, $200 million, 8,000 homeless in Nevada. Divide that, do the math. $20,000 per homeless citizen of your tax money has been spent to fix this problem. And it has been put into a business that is making money and making more of a problem. Yet you could have took that $20,000 and walked up to Zane over here, or myself, or this gentleman, any one of us, as we sit here now trying to figure out how to get ourselves a home. We got a sailboat for $2,000 sitting over there. We've got a sailboat sitting on the coast right now that if somebody wants to get rid of for $1. We're trying to find a home. Why? Because if we get that sailboat and we get a home, we sail, we're free, we can go travel, we can literally, legally go anywhere. We don't have any problems with the officers. Well, let's fix that problem here. Why not give $20,000? Oh, wait a minute. You are all a bunch of irresponsible idiots that have no education or understanding to how to manage your money, because if you did, you wouldn't be homeless in the first place. Wait a minute. My name's Timothy. 11 years in the military. Captain Timothy James John Rapliano. I have a technical degree of science, a master's degree. I've asserted many citations. I've invented many things in the history. I pioneered citizen journalism with my own newspaper at the University of Missouri. No, I'm very good at finding and managing my money. And most people in this industry, the homeless industry that you've turned us into, they are too. Why? Because I could give this man $10. And you know what I do when I give him $10? That's $1 million to that man. He knows that he can spend $1 and get two things of soup down at Walmart and go and pay 50 cents for some hot water or something and get a meal. He can go turn around and he can buy a cigar or a cigarette if he likes to smoke. He can do all that. He can combine economically $10 into a good day. And you want to tell us that a homeless person doesn't know how to manage their money and that we're irresponsible. You want to solve the problem of homelessness. You want to get rid of all the people sleeping in the parks. You don't want any more drugs running the streets. You don't want any people shoplifting anymore. You don't want to have to pay for all these security guards to monitor your property because it's going to be homeless invaded. Why? Well, wait a minute. Let's make it $10,000. I just give this man $10,000. Hey, Jane, what are you doing? Hey, you just talked to your mother on the phone. You know what? You probably go see your mother, go see what's going on with your life. You would go somewhere. We just looked up online, $1,500 to buy myself a mobile home. I would have a home. I could get it registered. I'd have a little extra money to put aside that I could keep for my retirement days while I'm working until I can get Social Security. I would have a mobile home. Actually, I'd have a home. And you wouldn't have to spend any more money on me. And you could keep the extra $10,000 of the $20,000 that you gave us. Because it's your tax money, people, and you're getting robbed.
What do you want the world to know about the stigma of homelessness?
Well, the fact of, as well as I myself am educated as well. I've got several degrees. I've got a business office administration degree. I ran a business for over 9 years, and successfully, I may add, nonprofit as well as profit. And I've learned so many tricks of the trade, it's not even funny. There's so many ways economically that we could actually change this deficit from being completely homeless to flip it the reverse, where everybody has a chance and a home and hope. And in this world, it just keeps getting more and more clouded with their judgment, because there's so much access to information, but so few people access it. You can literally get anything you need off of the internet. The World Wide Web has been sitting there as a gateway to all of us. And you can go to a library for free. And there could be so many programs implemented through that nonprofit-wise to help these people out. And they're not accessing or utilizing all this beautiful technology that we have, that we're on the forefront of moving forward through. As the saying goes back in the Bible, it literally states, teach a man to fish, feed him for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. And that goes off the premise of what he just stated.
That's right, that's right. And what about you, my friend? What's your name?
Zane.
Zane?
Yeah.
What do you want the world to know about the stigma of homelessness?
I think there's a lot of women and men out there, elderly people, that need to be taken care of first.
Yeah.
And then the youngsters like me, I don't know, I can't speak for everybody else. Drugs is, mental health has been an issue, and the reason why I'm homeless right now. And there's a lot of people
Thank you
that
for your
don't
honesty.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know how to, I don't know, how to go about figuring this out. So I'm stuck in this cycle. And I'll go to treatment, I'll find out, but then I just can't stick to it for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's, I need more than just meds and in order to treat it, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. But as far as being homeless, the stigma, there's just a lot of people in the streets that don't need to be there.
Yeah.
A lot of these people are like...
Veterans should not be on the streets, in my opinion.
Nobody should be. And especially
Somebody mentally ill shouldn't be on the streets.
Yeah.
I would estimate that we probably have 5 special needs people in our group of homeless people that we feed.
Well, I'll say this. Here's how it really works. You got about 25% of the people that are homeless that are stuck in a groove. They're in the drug world. They're they have mental problems, but some of them are mostly drugs. Then you got about another 20% of people. That about 25% of the people they're retirees. That they can't pay. That they only get $900 a month. Their rent's gone way too high that they can't pay, and they've had to make the decision to go out to the street so they can pay the bills. And some of them are living here on purpose. They don't really want to be homeless, but the real reason is they can't find a place affordable to live in. That's the other thing that's the huge issue, is affordable.
Yeah.
Because see, if you could get them in an affordable healthcare system, you just got to get them a home. Everybody, and I go right back to homes. People are treating the homeless by feeding them, but they're only curing the symptom. The true nature of it is we are not free with a home. If you don't have security of a home, your things are stolen all the time. You don't have security of a home, or you have to be told to move. If you literally took the $10,000 I'm talking about and gave it to each guy and made a deal with a homeless shelter, a guy that sells mobile homes, and go to one of these car dealers or these mobile home dealers and say, okay, look, we're going to write $10,000 gift voucher money to these people. They've got to come and buy a vehicle from one of these mobile homes from you. We want you to give them a deal, a good deal. If you give them a bad deal, we're going to be pissed off about it. And what we're going to do is you give them a good mobile home for this 10 grand. They've got their other 10 grand. And included in that 10 grand is a mobile home, KOA, all the KOA campground membership, to a lifetime membership to our KOA campgrounds. You will have a whole bunch of people that will love to retire like that.
Yeah.
And you will take them all off the streets. They won't be homeless anymore. And they've got their Social Security to carry their bills with them away. And that's how simple it is. It's been cut. All of that has been cut out from all of bureaucracy. Everybody is trying to help, but they're all trying to make money, and they're all siphoning the money that should be going directly to the problem. You want to solve the problem, go directly to the streets like this young lady right here is doing. She's going on and trying to figure it out what's going on. And I'm telling you, from the streets, as a scientist of social order, I have a master's degree in science. You can look my LinkedIn, I sent it to you. It says expert social engineer. I've dealt with psychological operations all my life. And I've learned it sitting here on the street, looking back at you rich people who the man that you're talking to was a millionaire. I had a 40-acre horse ranch. I combined both the campus newspapers of the University of Missouri and combined it into citizen journalism 30 years ago when you were a kid.
And yet here we are. Real quick, before we close, with my friends here, you know, somebody on an app that I'm on said to me, you know, you're part of the problem. And I don't look to be a part of the problem. I try to be a part of the solution. Sounds to me like this gentleman wants some help. And so we have a couple of rehab places that we're going to work with. And if he's sick and tired of being sick and tired, we're going to plug him into where he needs to go. And if we look at the homelessness problem as an individual problem and not a big problem, it's different. Because this is Schmo, and Schmo is here because of this reason. And he's mentally ill. Okay, let's get him, because we don't have a mental hospital here in the state of Nevada, a long-term mental hospital here in the state of Nevada. So we get him where he needs to go. You're a veteran. I'm sorry, you should not be here. You served our country. You said yes when most people said no. You should not be here. Somebody mentally ill should not be here. Pregnant women and children should not be here. And so by doing that, we're slowly getting the problem.
You have to cherry pick.
Yes.
And that's what I mean about sitting them down.
Instead of looking at it as a big problem, you look at it as an individual problem and start plugging people in. Give me the resources. Give me the resources to get you out of here. And that's what we can do. But they're looking at it as a big problem instead of looking at it as an individual problem.
You'll see, what you'll find is they've got nonprofit organizations that are out there right now trying to do that exact same. But what they're stuck in is the government forces them into a process where they have to do certain things for the grant money to come. So then they put then what they do is they put them in a box and then they just form them through.
And we give them all one-way bus passes to California. And what's California do? Give them all one-way bus passes to Vegas. And this is how we fix the problem. And it's really not. It's an infinite loop.
That's right. I'm putting confirmation to you of the saying that is direct. You create a loop, and mankind will be stuck in it.
Yeah.
And you can't. The best way is to go directly to the root issue.
Right.
You go to the root issue. You look at the one.
Do we have some people who want to be out here? Sure. You guys know that.
Yeah.
But the majority of you guys that I talk to don't want to be out here. So
We're doing our
the question is, then how do we get you out of here? And the problem is we have nowhere to put you because we don't have the housing, we don't have the funding, we don't have the mental ill.
You have the funding. Wait,
right.
You have the funding.
Give me the resources. I'll quit my job today.
The government gives
that.
tons of money to grant money. They write tons of grants for people like you for what you're trying to do. But the problem is they won't let you do exactly what you're talking about because they won't give you the grant money if you don't. And so the real issue, and I know this because I've helped them write grants. So and what happens is once again the money must be trapped. It is not going directly to the problem. You could look at me right now. Okay, I'm giving you an example. If you sat right here right now with you or I and sat with these three guys, we could sit here and you could say, okay, these are your problems, and this is what we're going to do to help you. But I know the bottom line is, here's the real bottom line. The man needs enough money to have a home.
He's had a home a year ago. I blew it off for a woman really good. I could have stayed and paid the bills, but I chose to go get drugs.
Right. So, but you feel me? So what I'm saying is, you can solve that. The only way to solve that problem, really, go right back to home. Go right back to home. It's the root issue. And so what they do is they say, oh yeah, it's homes. Let's make tiny homes. Let's give them all homes. And you got to sign this application. You got to do this. But what are you doing? Once again, you place them into a prison system. In those little tiny homes, you still can't knock on your neighbor's door. You can't even go to your neighbors and say hi. You can't even go over there and sit and watch a TV show. You can't even have any guests of your own to come over and have a shower if you want to walk out into the real world again and find a homeless guy and offer him a shower. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't have any friends. Your family has to ask permission to come see you. You are in a halfway house system. It's a prison system. It's not free.
Right.
We
It's
are
not
Americans.
designed.
I fought 11 years in the military. I was wounded twice. I fought for freedom. I did not fight for prison.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the whole deal.
So
it
with,
really is.
So we're gonna finish this up, and hopefully you see this and you realize what we're trying to tell you. If you could see these people the way I see them, you would see it a whole different way. And so, you know, every week we're gonna try to give you guys a video of some of my friends. These are 3 of my friends, and we'll keep you posted too, as if we can get them some resources, get them some help. So, thanks.
What you need? All I need is $2,000. I'm working
So,
we got a bunch of
thank you.
people.
So thanks for watching. Again, I'm Kelly Harrington, and hopefully we can change your mind about the stigma of homelessness. Thank you so much.